Coming up on Network Africa, South African advocacy group to challenge President Cyril Ramaphosa's plan to change the constitution, allowing for land expropriation. Weapons monitoring group says Uganda helped to channel European arms and ammunition to South Sudan at the height of its civil war, bypassing an EU arms embargo on the East African country. And Kenya's Anti-Corruption Commission says some policemen helped two of their colleagues escape detention after allegations that they had demanded a bribe from a foreigner. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Teniola Shoboale. A South African advocacy group that lobbies for the rights of white farmers is set to challenge President Cyril Ramaphosa's land reform plans in court. Ramaphosa, who replaced scandal-plagued Jacob Zuma in February, has made land reforms a flagship policy as he seeks to unite the fractured ruling African National Congress and win public support ahead of an election next year. Land is a controversial issue in South Africa, where racial inequality runs deep even 24 years after the end of apartheid. White farmers, 9% of the 56 million population, still owns more than 70% of agricultural land in the country. Joining us now is our South Africa Bureau Chief, Betty Dibia, to discuss more on this. Hello, Betty. Well, what more can you tell us about this legal challenge?
Well, basically, it's an interest group from South Africa, mostly Afrikaners. They're mostly whites, and quite a number of them white farmers. AfriForum represents the interest of many of the Afrikaners, and they're challenging the plans by the president, which he has been talking about at every forum he's on the issue of land expropriation without compensation. So they are challenging, and in line with this, we've had quite a number of public engagements around all the provinces regarding what the people feel about that particular plan. It's been heated, and it's sort of exposed the extent of division and the grievances of the people regarding the issue of land ownership in the country. And we know that the whites represent less than 10% of the population, but many of them still own more than 60% of agricultural land. So this plan is expected to address that. But the Afrikaners who would actually, many of them who would be affected, bringing this challenge to the court, saying that the parliamentary committee, which was constituted to look at all the inputs by the public and various interest groups, they erred in some manner. What they want the court to do is to refer the report back to the committee to request that the committee to repair the wrongs. And what they refer to as the wrongs is this. They said the committee illegally appointed an external service provider to compile the report, which they have adopted and have made recommendations to Parliament, saying that they failed to consider more than 100,000 submissions opposing that plan of land expropriation without compensation. So should they succeed, that report may be referred back. But we know that Parliament is expected to adopt that report by the parliamentary subcommittee on the 4th. That's next Tuesday, 4th of December.
Well, Betty, before now, the white farmers have been protesting against President Ramaphosa's plan to change the constitution. But what is the president's response at the moment?
President, apart from adopting it as his election slogan, we know that elections are next year. So the bulk of it is election speak, but that doesn't take away the fact that there is still a lot of inequality regarding land ownership in the country. And a lot of people are raising their voices regarding this issue. You even have some political parties like Black First, Land First. They're basing their own ideology on the issue of equity regarding land ownership in the country. And you have the more militant than the ANC, the EFF, talking about that land. We know during that vote, to revisit what they call Section 25, which addresses the issue of land ownership in the country. The EFF and some of the other parties voted along with the ANC, unlike the DA, that's the Democratic Alliance, which voted against. So that's where it is at this point. But he's saying that everything will be done according to the Constitution. So if the pursuit now to amend Section 25 of the Constitution to allow them make some changes regarding land ownership or redistribution of the land in the country goes through, then the plan will go through. But nothing can be done without the required amendment of the Constitution.
Okay, so what is the reaction of opposition members to this?
The opposition members are quite divided, and it's not entirely white against black, because the leader of the DA, or Democratic Alliance, is a black man, Amusi Maimane, although is a mostly white people's party. Though the black membership of the party has improved in the past, or increased in the past few years, especially after the last election. And then you also have what they call the Congress of the People, led by Monsieur Lekota. He is a black man as well. He is against land expropriation without compensation. But you have the other parties who see wrong in the nature or the structure of land ownership in the country and want to see what can be corrected regarding that. So a lot of people are watching at this point if the application or what the Africana Forum has brought to the court will go through. But it still doesn't totally throw off the issue of the plan. It's how it's going to be, or having everybody else's input, those who support, those who are against, in the consideration, of the report and what the Parliament will have at the back of their minds when they debate, when it becomes a bill, when they debate regarding that plan.
Finally, Betty, just before we let you go, how soon could the changes to the Constitution be made? And if these white farmers succeed in their legal challenge, what would be the next step for the president?
Well, if they succeed in the legal challenge, as I just said a few minutes ago, they would have to take back the report to the parliamentary committee that looked into or that just finished sitting. It was earlier this month that they adopted their final report and made recommendations to Parliament. So it may have to go back. It doesn't throw away the process. It just delays it a bit to accommodate